Well, it seems like drama follows Morgan Wallen wherever he goes, and we have got his latest PR mess coming up.
We're going to talk about Morgan's organ, his liver, coming up.
Glad to have you back with us. Let's jump in. We talked on a couple of shows ago about Record Store Day, and I was very excited about it, and it happened this past weekend. Maybe you saw the short that we put up, just a quick 60 seconds of my day.
Very entertaining. Check out the shorts on our YouTube page.
Yeah, please. We got a lot of good stuff going there. Anyway, it was a great day, and it was so much fun, and the same thing I said before Record Store Day stands true after. It's just such a great day for community and just getting together with people who love the same things you love. But what's crazy is I'm part of this record collector group. I think it's on Facebook. I have never seen a bigger group of grown men and women who just love to piss and moan about everything. I don't like this. I don't like that. Why do they do? It's like, God, you're supposed to be happy.
No.
And it's like Record Store Day is supposed to be fun. You're supposed to be, the main thing is you're supporting your local independent record stores. But everybody's been complaining. I had a blast. Got almost everything on the list that I wanted. And the few things that we didn't get, were mostly Katie stuff.
What did you not get that you wanted?
There was a jazz album that I wanted by Art Blakey that nobody even had. And then Katie wanted the E40 record that came out, and nobody had that either. So, it's regional. Sometimes you get stuff in certain places, sometimes you don't. But between the two shops that I love to go to, I got everything, and I'm really excited.
Well, again, your short you did on it of the day seemed fun.
It
made me feel like I missed out.
It was definitely fun, and to get up at 2 a.m., which I've done for 30 years, but not in the last 6 months. It hurt. It hurt real bad. Although I was smart, I think for the first time ever at Record Store Day, I wasn't hungover in line.
Nice.
And that felt really nice.
Okay.
But it was still, it's a long day, but a fun day. So
I tell you what doesn't feel nice is my back.
Oh.
As we said when we left our former home, that since they gave us such short notice, led us to believe they were going to keep us, and then short notice, boom. We had already had Lily in school. So you've been kind enough to let us wait around for a year before we head back to Nashville. Mm-hmm. Well, the time is here. The school year is coming to an end, and so we started packing around here. Man, the boxes are a lot heavier than they were when I was 20 years younger.
Well, and no matter what you do, if you are a family, I especially noticed it when I had kids, you think, it's not too bad, and then you realize all the stuff that you accumulate over time.
Yeah, and I'm like, we're not taking this. If it's under $50, we can buy a new one. We'll just buy a new one when we get to town. We're done.
Well, we're getting ready to start packing as well. You'll actually end up back there after all this time when we could have just bolted any time. You're going to end up back before we do, but we're in the initial process. And there's a few boxes in our house that have never been opened from when we moved into this house 6 years ago, mostly containing like office stuff that belongs to Katie. And I'm telling her, you don't take any of this back to Nashville. If it hasn't been opened in 6 years, I'm guessing you don't need it anymore. So we're not going to start taking junk back to Nashville with us. But it's such a pain.
I need to find someone that can convert VHS into like DVDs or something so that we can do that, because we've got boxes of our stuff from when we were 20 years old, TV commercials and videos. I would like to get those, but I also, a part of me is, I can just trash this. Yeah. We're never going to need it.
Well, it's memories. I've got a bunch of stuff from when I was a theater guy back in the day, and it's on VHS. And if the VHS is even still playable now, so many years later, I'm kind of glad I skipped the DVD thing, because now they can just put it on a stick for you.
Oh, okay.
Which is great, and it's cheaper too. But you still have it's been sitting, it's dry, and it's been in a cool place. But I just don't know, a 30-year-old VHS tape.
I'm not sure.
Probably not going to hold up. But yeah, the packing and stuff is like, we've had I'm sure you have too, cash offers for the house. We're like, hey, well, a sight unseen, we'll give you this amount of money, and it's good money. And I'm really tempted to go that way because I don't have to show the house. I don't have to get the animals out of the house.
We feel pretty good because we have the best agent in East Tennessee, Holly McRae, but also like a house down the street sold first day it went up. For above asking price. So I think we're going to be fine.
Yeah, well, she's coming actually to our house to do the same thing. And I'm just going to tell her, if you can't get me at least this guaranteed, I don't know, Holly.
She will.
Well, again, because for us, it's about the headache, because we have to get it's weird in our house because I can't just pile 3 dogs into the car and get out of the way, because 2 of the dogs can't be around the other dog.
Yeah.
So it's like it becomes this whole chore. But I'm excited to get it done and get out and get moved back to Nashville. So follow our journey. I'm sure we'll be posting a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, we're especially going to need you to like, subscribe, and share to keep folks around here in East Tennessee following us.
Yeah, and then we're excited of all the new people that we're grabbing around the world. Like, you forget that YouTube, everybody everywhere is using this.
We had someone the other day start following us from Kansas that just said, hey, I found you guys, and love the stuff you're doing. Appreciate you. Liked a bunch of our different posts.
Very cool. Appreciate that a lot. So what are we watching this week? A lot of content that we've been consuming. As busy as we are, you got to make time to watch television.
Well, my treadmill is my time that I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch stuff. And I finally saw the finale season of Better Call Saul.
Review?
And I loved it. And I get it now. Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul may be two of the best television series ever made, acting, story-wise. And it was one of those endings that you're not going to be happy with anything because you kind of want them to get away with it, but you kind of want them to be punished. I mean, it was just well done.
Yeah, we really enjoyed it. I think we may have liked Better Call Saul even a little more than Breaking Bad. And I remember watching Breaking Bad and being, obviously years late to it and thinking, why didn't I like this the first time I tried it? Because it's great out of the gate. And I don't know what was going on in my head or in my life at that time, but so happy that we caught up and watched.
And, I don't know why this just made me think about people that mouth off too quick. Did you see the meme? It just said, this tweet didn't age well. And it was a picture of Breaking Bad, the series. Its first week. It was dated like the first week it came on. And someone said, Bryan Cranston is a comedic actor. Expect him to be canceled soon. This should have been cast by someone else.
That was on one of our top memes.
Was it?
A few shows ago. We actually saw that. It was like, wow, you got to think about those things before you speak in absolutes, But it wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't known for that kind of stuff then. I don't think any of us realized how great an actor he was.
That happens so often. I mean, Michael Keaton's cast as Batman. Everybody's up in arms. Then they love him. Heath Ledger cast as the Joker. Everybody up in arms. Then they love him and he wins an Oscar. I mean, it's just the people that are doing these things 90% of the time know what they're doing.
Yeah, certainly mistakes are made. And obviously there are people who are miscast in different people's opinions, but I always try to be good about giving somebody the benefit of the doubt because you don't know. And especially comedians are such great dramatic actors.
Yes.
Which kind of leads us to just a couple of the things we've talked about already. But, Barry, the last season is on right now. And I'm just reminded again how great an actor Bill Hader is.
Yes.
Known for
and he's directing all these episodes.
Yeah. I mean, they are really taking great care with the last season. And it's funny because this past weekend, they just decided, hey, we haven't been light and funny enough. And I just thought that was laugh out loud funny and still move the story forward. We still had those dramatic moments, but there were so many just great, hilarious moments. You remember, oh, yeah, this is a comedy too.
Yeah.
So if you haven't watched Barry and you have HBO, got to say it again. You flew through Perry Mason both seasons, right?
Yes, loved it. You're right. Thanks for getting me turned on to it. It's really interesting to see that kind of time period, the 30s.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I did what we always do when we finish a show. I don't like to check anything while I'm watching it because I don't want spoilers. So as soon as we finished it, I immediately looked to see if there would be a season 3. And word is, because Matthew Reese, who stars as Perry Mason, is the executive producer as well. And he said, I have something in mind. I think we could do a 3rd season with Perry. And then he thinks he would walk away from the show, but he believes that the show could continue without him.
Absolutely. They could flash forward 20 years and have an older Perry Mason that's more experienced now. I think it could be great.
Yeah, he talked about that. He said that that's one of the ideas he had about it. So we'll see what happens. And I'll just mention it again. If you haven't watched Beef on Netflix, excellent television, entertaining. Just when you think, okay, this has got to be settling down, something goes on, and you get mad at these characters, and then you feel bad for these characters. And the way they ended it, and of course that same way we finished the season, I immediately looked up, will there be a season 2? The creator of the show initially wanted to do it like an anthology series, kind of like that American Horror Story where it's different stories, same universe.
Yeah.
And so he would focus on different characters. But he said the characters that these two played are so strong that he's now thinking maybe we do another season and revisit some of what and I wish they would, because the way it ends, I'm like, I need more.
And I haven't seen it yet, but I can tell you I won't be a fan, and I'm going to go ahead and announce it now. I will be launching a live show that airs every week after Beef's new episode comes out, where we just make fun of it. It will be called Roast Beef.
I'm glad you're a dad now, but where's that Norman Fell?
Thank you.
Okay. A couple quick movie things. If you've come across it, it's on Prime now. It's called The Outfit, and Mark Rylance, I believe, is the actor. He's the Oscar winner from Bridge of Spies. He's in it. A couple other familiar faces. It's a quiet little, really mobster movie, and I've been waiting a long time to pull the trigger, and I finally said, okay, Katie's not home, and watched it. I recommend it.
Okay.
Good movie. He's brilliant in it, and even though the movie I wouldn't rank as just a stellar movie, it's a good movie, and he's excellent in it, and he kind of carries those slow moments on his back.
Okay.
And I thought it was really good, so I won't ruin anything else about it. And then another one, I don't think we talked about it. I think you and I talked about it, but we never got it to a show. It's called The Rental.
Okay.
And Katie wanted me to watch it, and Maybe we talked about it. I can't remember now. So forgive me if we've already talked about this. I lose track of all the stuff we watched. Dave Franco, who James Franco's brother, wrote it with somebody and directed it. And it starts out great. It's got the guy from The Bear and Shameless is in it.
Yes.
Some other familiar faces. It starts out good, kind of a thriller, suspenseful. Ooh, what's this going to be? And then about 3/4 into the movie, it flips and becomes something completely different. And at that point, I looked at Katie and said, I'm done with this. And she was so mad at me for not liking it as much as she liked it, but I just...
Okay.
For me. So that's... And then another one, it's just started its second season. I think this past weekend, we'd never heard of it. And I don't know how Katie found it, but she did. It's on Amazon Prime, and it's simply called From. And it's got the dude, I think he was in Lost. But I'm not 100% sure because I didn't watch Lost.
Okay.
But he was a pretty tough character in Sons of Anarchy. But he's kind of the head guy. I don't even know what's going on yet because we've only watched 2 episodes. But it's great horror television.
Okay.
And it's got a very intriguing first episode that immediately hooked me. And I'm very curious to see where this goes. It's very Stephen King-ish. Very Stephen King-ish for me. Based on the 2 episodes we've seen, I would recommend it.
Okay, I'm in.
Don't know where it's going from here, but so I think we're all caught up on this stuff.
Okay. Well, I love movie trailers. Lily makes fun of me often because I'll watch trailers from old movies and stuff because I love them.
Yeah.
Equalizer 3 is coming, and I love the Equalizer movies.
These movies are so good, and of course, it's the first series where Denzel has ever done a sequel. And now to think he's going to come back and do a third one, I feel like they've got a good story to tell.
And let me just go ahead and tell you the thing that made me feel old. When you watch the trailer, which we'll have a link.
Yeah, it's in the description.
But the girl at the end of the trailer, the blonde, she's the little girl from Man on Fire.
Oh, right. Dakota Fanning.
Yes.
It's crazy. I love that they're working together again.
Yeah.
And because it's the first time they have since that time. Well, for me, the Dakota Fanning thing that really hurt me is the character she plays in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I didn't even recognize her at first. I was like, oh my God, that's cute little Dakota Fanning. It's tough.
Talk about feeling old.
Well, and I'm going to pile on. Here comes the double whammy. Harry Potter is a dad, like the real life Daniel Radcliffe. And that just, I watched him grow up as millions did in these Harry Potter movies. And now he's, of course, a grown man, and he and his girlfriend welcomed their first child. So congratulations. I wonder what it's going to be like to be his kid.
There's going to be a whole new Harry Potter coming.
I know, but I'm wondering, will anybody remember or know or care? By the time his kid's old enough to know that dad is Harry Potter.
I don't know.
It's almost better, I guess, this way because that way he won't be teased probably incessantly because you know how kids are.
Yes.
But anyway, when I saw that on top of this other thing, it definitely, I think, added a few more grays. I don't have a lot of black hairs left on my head. I definitely took care of a few of them there. Ooh, ouch. Okay, so let's get into this Morgan Wallen story. This is just one of those guys that drama follows him, trouble follows him, and I believe there's a reason for that. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but here is the latest if you didn't know. Playing a show the other night, or supposed to play a show in Mississippi, and then just at the it couldn't be more last second. The openers had already...
3 openers had already played.
And then it's announced that Morgan can't come on stage. He's too sick.
And the PR spin on it was he was working all day to get his voice ready, but he was sick. And up until the last minute, thought he could do it, and then finally just said, I can't do it. Personally, I don't buy that.
No.
I have no proof, no evidence. I was not there. I have some people that were there that have reached out to me and told me some things. But I can tell you right now, you get out ahead of that stuff. When people have spent money on babysitting, days off work, 6, 7, 8-hour drives to get to the venue, and spent money for tickets that are going for outrageous prices, you let them know as soon as possible things may not be as we want them to be tonight.
Yeah. There are so many better ways they could have handled it. The easiest thing would be if he is really going to try to push it down to the last second and you're on a humidifier, you're drinking hot tea, whatever the thing you're doing is, you go out and make a connection with the fans and let them know why you're not coming out, even though they've sat through 2 openers already.
And I think about that, and that leads me to believe the rumors are true. The security guard, if you haven't seen, this is what the security guard said.
Security guard alleges Morgan Wallen was too drunk to stand and had to be taken by an ambulance at his canceled concert.
Wall. Did that lose his voice? Right?
Yeah.
Somebody
he was taken on.
Yep.
Taken on.
So an ambulance took him off.
Now, since that, his company, the security guard company, come out and said that is not a true statement. He was wrong. And the record label has come out and said, that couldn't be farther from the truth. That is not true. But my thing, to your point, the humidifier, working all day, When have you not seen an artist post under the weather? My throat's. I'm trying to get ready for showtime.
Yeah. And then even a good example. We saw Vince Gill a couple of years ago, and one of the first thing he does when he comes on stage, he made the show, but he said, "Hey guys, I'm under the weather. I've been a little under the weather. My voice isn't everything it should be. So I apologize in advance, but I'm going to try to get through this." And of course, he's Vince Gill.
Yes.
So even sick, he sounded amazing. But he hit it head on immediately because people were already in their seats there to see him, and they hadn't paid the money that people had paid to see Morgan Wallen.
Luke Combs, just recently, a few months ago, came out and a few songs into a show said, "My voice isn't what I want it to be tonight because I'm sick. I'm going to do an abbreviated set." And he was like, "Hold on, listen to me. I'm going to refund everyone's money in here tonight, and we're still going to do a little bit of a show." People love him.
Yeah, it's how you handle things, and it's those kind of situations.
And
but of course, that was clearly genuine.
Yes, and I go back to the rumors, and again, alleged all that stuff about that he was drunk and couldn't perform. He'd fell down on stage a couple of nights earlier. I have no proof one way or the other, but I will say what Tony said, and that is, you can't do a video from backstage saying
something that connects
my
with your
throat's
fans.
Sore. I'm so sorry. You can't walk out on stage and wave and just go, "Hey, I'm so sorry."
Offer people their money back. One lady's already, I guess, sued him for the $4,000 that she spent to be there.
Even if he had, and I get it, vocal rest, you can't even risk saying a word. He couldn't walk out and just go, "We're going to refund everyone's money and I will be back. I'm so sorry." And round up your 3 openers and tell people, say, "Look, we're going to pay these guys more to come out and do a special cover show. If you all can do that." Eric Church did that once. His entire band got the flu.
Yeah.
And they wanted to cancel the show. And Eric Church went out and said, now, if he'd went out and said, "It's just me. Sorry, the band's sick," people would have probably been like, "Well, I'm not getting the full experience." Yeah. But instead, he went out and said, "You're going to get a one-of-a-kind show tonight. Nobody else is going to get this because it's just me and you." And he sang for 2 hours with a guitar. Everybody loved it.
It's just such a fine line between making the right choices to be legendary and do the right thing and to not. And that comes to my opinion on this, and I will probably anger some Morgan Wallen fans, but
I'm sure you will.
At the end of the day, I don't think Morgan Wallen is a very good person. I think he's. I don't want to say. I'm not going to get name calling, but I just don't think he's a very good person. Here's the thing: look at all the stories that have followed this guy. Everybody wants to forgive him, and we love him anyway. And it's the woke mob that's after Morgan. And all these things.
Deep down, he's a good person.
Yeah, he has said and done some terrible things, and he's treated some people very badly. When people show you who they are, believe them. You can't change your character. You can throw as much money as you want at somebody and make somebody the richest man in the world. At the end of the day, his or her character is going to come out, and I believe this happens with Morgan all the time, and everybody wants to make excuses and forgive, and I just don't think it's forgivable.
I'm going to argue this.
Okay.
And
be wrong. Well, see if I care.
Here's why. I don't know Morgan. I mean, we've talked to him a few times, but we don't know him well enough to make judgments on him. I do get what you're saying. The evidence points to a lot of apologies, a lot of "I'm working on bettering myself," and that always comes after he's done something. I get that. There's a lot of drama that follows him. But Tracy Lawrence was that way back in the day. There was always something. It was like Tracy, and he had 26 number ones, and I do believe Tracy's a good person and went on, but I think he had some trouble, and I'm hoping that Morgan is going to change.
Yeah, I mean, and
again, Morgan could be innocent in this. He could have been sick and just handled it poorly and had bad people giving him advice on how to handle it. But that goes back to your point about the evidence previous. Everything that happens for the rest of his life, people are going to go, see, he's doing it.
It's another thing. Well, you can tell when somebody, you never hear anything out of this guy, really, unless it's some kind of drama or some kind of character flaw situation. And then he wants to do good. He's one of those people, I believe. It's like, he's not sorry. He's just sorry he got caught. That's how it comes across. That's the impression that you get after so many of these situations. And I'm just wondering, how many times is he going to pull stuff like this where people are just like, "Oh, but here's why." I'll make those excuses.
Well, I'll tell you this. We know a lot of artists and the A-listers, and Morgan's an A-lister right now. But
sure.
the A-listers we know, Kenny Chesney comes to mind. That's the hardest day he works all week is game day, is what he calls it. And that is from the time he wakes up, it's meet and greet rooms because there's so many sponsors for his stadium shows. And he knows, when we see him, he comes in and is like, "Hey, man, I'm going to cut it short, with you guys because I know you, kind of a thing." But he does his thing, takes his picture, says, "I got to go do 4 more of these." The show is fun for him because that's the end of the day. It's like, now I get to do what I love, but he's been working all day up until that point. And if Morgan was out golfing, partying, doing whatever, that was taking your fans for granted.
Yeah. And I'll give him the benefit of this, and that is that everybody, famous or not, has bad days. The sweetest, kindest person you know can have a day where it just doesn't go quite right, and they act out in some way, and you're like, oh, wow, that's unlike them. Morgan's the opposite. When he has a good day, it's like, oh, he had a good day today.
We know several artists, in fairness, that's their reputation.
Very much like that, and it's difficult, and it's especially difficult when you already have those character flaws, and then suddenly you're thrown into the wolves of being super famous, super successful, so fast. Not that he hasn't been working at this for years, but it happened like that.
Well, I keep hoping that he's got people around him, and clearly after the way they handled that announcement, they don't.
Yeah.
But gets the people around him to say, just lay low, make your money, put out great music, entertain the fans, and just live life.
And that'd be great, but that's going to require a change in character. And not everybody has that ability.
I get it.
You can throw all your hate towards me for being that way against Morgan in the comments. I'll be happy to read them. And just so you know, going in, I don't care.
I was just about to say, and folks, let me just save you some time there. You can write all you want. And
it's just an opinion.
Yeah, I get it. I'm not. Hey, don't get me wrong. I'm not far from that opinion.
Yeah.
I'm wanting to assume, because I like his album and I like his music. I want everyone to do well.
Yeah, if you're working hard in the business to make it, we root for you, obviously. But how many times do you have to go through stuff like this where something bad happens and you're like, good Lord. And I like some of his music. I'm not a huge fan anyway, but this has nothing to do with the music. This has to do how you handle yourself as a human being and a person.
Had he not had all this past drama,
sure,
this everybody would have went, well, he must have been sick.
Yeah, it'd be nothing.
And because we have seen how record labels and people there's an artist that we had doing a show one night. We had to go make the announcement that he had a sinus infection when in fact his brother had just beat the heck out of him and he was in the hospital.
Yeah.
But, it's a sinus infection and everybody, get better, and we're so sorry. But they do that stuff all the time. So it wouldn't be unusual if the version that's out there happened.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how it plays out. I really feel bad for the fans. You're a fan of somebody and you go to all those, like you said, the efforts you go to get to that show, the money you spend, the time it takes to line everything up. And then that's what comes out of it. Very disappointing. Yeah. Really, really tough. So wish all the fans well, hope they get something out of this, maybe a refund or something. And, we'll wait and see how this story plays out. Yet another one where you have to say, I wonder what's going to happen with Morgan. Tired of saying that. Let's get to our top 5 memes of the week. And our disclaimer, as we always say, these aren't necessarily new. Some of them, in fact, are pretty old. These are just the ones that crossed our path this week.
And made us laugh.
Gave us a giggle. So we hope you'll enjoy. Here we go. Jump in with number 5. And let's start with a solid dad joke. Chris, I know you'll love this.
Oh, this is awesome.
My kids really just called me out of bed to tell me the milk's gone bad. You're raising kids right when you're teaching them to make stupid jokes like this.
I love everything about this.
I'm a huge fan. This is what I would expect from my children. I'd be disappointed if they didn't do that kind of stuff. Another one, I'll let you guess which of the dads pulled this one out. So technically, Moses was the first man to download files from the cloud using a tablet. We'll see what they did there. They took something from the Bible and they made it super current. Nice. Wouldn't be fun if we didn't have a little fun with Leo.
Oh, yes.
Number 3 meme of the week, in Inception, Leo has a wife roughly the same age as him. This proves that everything was a dream.
That's accurate. That checks out.
That's a whole new way to look at Inception that I never even thought of. Number 2, this is a personal favorite of mine. Who knows what this is? This comment. A teachable moment for an overly curious child in a car alone. That's terrible. But I'll be honest, as a child, I did it. I was like, oh, what's this? But if you look at it and get it close to you and you can't tell it's hot, that's on the kid.
Yeah.
It's shame on them.
That's the same kid that stands in front of the slide.
Exactly.
And can't understand why he keeps getting knocked over.
And will someday be hit by a train.
Yes.
That train's coming pretty fast. I probably got to get off the tracks. Our number 1 meme for the week, and this is, I think, perfect timing for spring cleaning, because there is something that in most of our houses, we rarely think about cleaning.
This is so accurate.
Especially when the weather's warm and it just runs all the time, so you don't think about stopping it to clean it. My bedroom fan that's been running on high nonstop for 3 years.
Wow.
100%.
And let me just tell you, I'll save you a little time here. Take a sock, put over your hand, get a ladder, reach up, and do that across the top.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. If you got a couple of bucks to spend, we bought a tool. It's like a big circle, and it fits through. It just runs down the blade.
Oh,
and
love
back,
that.
And it's super easy to clean. And yeah, it takes a couple of minutes. Don't let your blades look like that man's face, please. Remember, we got the shop going, Tony and Chris store, the link is in the description, but then that's also, you can see it on the
Yes.
screen, how to get there. We appreciate those of you who have been watching the videos. Please continue to make sure you hit that like button. If you watched to this point, surely you must have liked it enough to
Yes.
stay.
And please share it with your rich friends because they can give us thanks.
Oh, yeah. Super thanks available, super gifts, those are all available. And obviously the money we make, not only is it nice to have, but right now it's just going towards
The studio.
the studio and upgrading equipment, things like that. So we appreciate you very much. Glad you watched. We'll be back very soon. Keep an eye on our shorts page. Lots of new content going up there every day. We'll see you next time.